lot of times, if you're into sports shows, which is probably why you're coming here to listen to me, you already kind of know what the headline of a certain day is going to be. If you were watching, obviously anybody that came on today, they were either telling you about, oh, how disappointing were the Steelers, or how great was Cleveland, or, oh my gosh, Lamar Jackson finally got a playoff win. And it's kind of stuff we already know. So I wanted to take the opportunity, because I don't think anybody that's listening or watching me is dumb, and I don't want to treat you as such. I feel like a lot of the other sports shows, they kind of look at you like you're dumb, like you don't know what's going on, and they have to hand spoon feed you like you are a child. Now, in defense, I am way into this stuff more than I should be, or more than a normal person should. So I am here to give you information that you might not have spent 10 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours, however long last night looking up. But even with that said, I don't think you're stupid. I don't think you're dumb. I think you're pretty intelligent. So, with that being said, we are starting today's show with stuff we already know. The stuff we already know, or for those of you that are okay being a little less PC, don't just buy the bullshit. You could go through every single game and I could break down stuff that you already know. I could go to the Ravens-Titans game and tell you Lamar played great, they were able to run the ball, and they stopped Derrick Henry. ESPN will give you a 10-minute segment on that. You already know what happened. I could go to the Tampa Bay and Washington game and you would say, oh, Tom played great, Washington had a bad quarterback. FS1 will run you 15 minutes of shit, Skip and Shannon debating that. I could even go to what's probably going to be the most talked about game of the day, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and everybody's either going to take the stance of Roethlisberger and the Steelers played like crap, or, oh, Baker played amazing, he's vindicated himself, he's a franchise quarterback. Your local news station will give you 20 minutes of that. We're not here for that. We're here for what actually matters and what an actual takeaway from the division round, for the wild card weekend of the NFL. Are you ready for it? The actual and only real takeaway from the NFL wild card weekend was nothing. Yeah, no, we got nothing. Understand something. It's a very old expression, but to beat the best, or to be the best, you have to beat the best. It's fair. You hear it all the time in boxing, wrestling, in boxing and MMA. They won't even let you fight the best until you have enough fights under your belt, until your record is at a certain point. So, while Tampa Bay had a good performance, the Saints had a good performance, the Browns had a good performance, the Ravens had a good performance, I'm asking you, as the smart, intelligent sports fan that you are, who beat Patrick Mahomes this weekend? I'm asking you, as the smart sports fan, who beat Aaron Rodgers this weekend? We understand, I could argue the only big significant win is LA beating Seattle because Russell Wilson is a top 3 quarterback and him being out of the playoffs actually kind of means something. But the way Russell ended the season, most people had Rodgers as not only the MVP, essentially wherever your quarterback hierarchy was, Rodgers is back to being above Russell. So we understand that the AFC goes through Kansas City, and we understand that the NFC goes through Green Bay. And no one beat either of those teams this weekend. Well, who beat the team that's probably the second best? Well, the Bills won. They're the number 2 seed in the AFC, so that's still there. The Saints won. They're the number 2 seed in the NFC, so that's still there. Do you think the Saints are better than the Packers? Do you think that 42-year-old Drew Brees can go to cold Lambeau, the guy who can barely throw 15 yards downfield in his nice dome where he's played for years, and go into Lambeau and beat the Packers? You don't. I don't. We're smarter than that. In the AFC, there's critics and people that have said the last 2 months of the season the Chiefs look like they didn't care. Well, because they didn't. They're better than everybody. They know they're better than everybody. You're essentially playing to just stay healthy. And even with that, they still went 14-2. And basically didn't play week 17. So you could have argued they could have gone 15-1, and they just officially threw the "we don't care" flag. So when you really look at it, to be the best, you got to beat the best. Now, for fan bases, and we always have to distinguish this because this is two different things. What actually matters and the impact. The impact on fans is way different than what actually matters. If you're a Browns fan, a Ravens fan, even a Saints fan this morning, you wake up and you're feeling great, your team's still in it, they just won a game, and you feel amazing. But it doesn't matter. Because all you're doing now is thinking in your head, what has to go right for us to beat Kansas City? What has to go right for us to beat Green Bay? How many breaks, like, okay, if you're a team like Baltimore or a team like Buffalo, you're thinking, all right, well, maybe we can shut down either Travis Kelce or Tyreek Hill, and then we can just hold the other one to, 80 to 90 yards, but only one touchdown or fewer. And if we can get some pressure on Patrick Mahomes, and if the defense, maybe we get them on off day. And I like Baltimore, and I like Buffalo. I think they're both fantastic run organizations. They're both fantastic teams, but they're not Kansas City. To an undisclosed, will not be named acquaintance/friend of mine, when he was discussing the Ravens, he was excited that the Ravens beat the Titans just for that fan feeling of what happened last year. Yeah, we got him back. The Ravens obviously danced on the logo, had this big celebration. He's like, that was great. I asked him, how do you feel about Kansas City? He's like, we can't beat Kansas City. I'm not here to beat Kansas City. We beat the Titans. That kind of made our season. And I think it made the Ravens season. I expect the Ravens to come out flat next week when they go to Buffalo. And I do have Buffalo beating them. But we'll get to that later in the week. The Browns just came off their biggest win. No, they have not. The Browns haven't won a playoff game since 1969 on the road. They haven't won a playoff game at all in 25 years. Since Bill Belichick was the head coach. 24 years, I believe it was 96. And your reward is you get to go fly to Arrowhead. Okay. Let me know how that works out for you. Baker Mayfield's on top of the world. He's a top 10 quarterback. He's a franchise guy. He's going to get an extension. He is all of that this morning, and he deserves it, and he earned it. So are we going to say that same exact thing when he gets smacked by 24? Just understand something, guys. I'm a fan. I love having those moments where you get like that rah-rah and you're pumped up and you're excited. But it doesn't mean anything. Now, ESPN, FS1, your local sports network, they're going to go sit there and tell you, oh my gosh, now that they did this, I think they really have a chance against this team. And oh my gosh, I really think this team has a chance here. And oh, did you see the way they played? If they could do that. But they didn't do that against Kansas City. They didn't do that against Green Bay. They didn't do that at Arrowhead. They didn't do it in Lambeau. Don't believe the bullshit. We already know the rest of the stuff. That's how it goes, guys. I don't make the rules. It's a cold game, but it's a fair one.